from all over the world. Local consumer prices continue to hover at the 2% since rate in April. Turning to robots to allow the visually impaired the chance to better indulge in cultural experiences. Like the number of hybrid cars are registered in South Korea has surpassed 2 million with this locally developed Yuri rocket.
Arirang.
Good afternoon and welcome to the noon edition of Arirang News, coming to you live from Seoul. I'm Lee Soo-jin. We begin with the ongoing Middle East conflict involving the U.S. Reports continue to emerge suggesting that Washington and Tehran may be close to reaching a deal in the near future. Meanwhile, U.S. President Donald Trump said there was no need to rush negotiations, adding that talks were still ongoing. Our Park Gun-woo reports.
The U.S. and Iran have reportedly reached a broad agreement aimed at easing tensions in the Middle East, although final approval from leaders on both sides is still pending and could take several more days. The New York Times, citing a U.S. official, said on Sunday that the deal was expected to include reopening the Strait of Hormuz and Iran giving up its highly enriched uranium, with details still under negotiation. Iran's leadership and state media have yet to comment on any potential agreement publicly. Axios also reported that Iran's nuclear program will be discussed during an additional 60-day truce period, expected to be included in a memorandum of understanding between the two sides, as Washington maintains a firm stance on Tehran's nuclear activities. U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio echoed that position on Sunday.
Some progress has been made, significant progress, although not final progress has been made. The ultimate goal is that Iran can never have a nuclear weapon.
U.S. President Donald Trump said on Truth Social the same day that any agreement with Iran would be a good one, unlike the Obama-era deal, which he claimed gave Tehran large amounts of cash and paved the way for a nuclear weapon. Trump's remarks came amid criticism, including from some Republicans. Trump also said negotiations were still underway and that he had instructed negotiators not to rush into a deal. He added that a U.S. blockade would remain in place until any agreement is finalized and signed. Meanwhile, White House economic advisor Kevin Hassett said disruptions to global crude supplies would likely ease quickly once the Strait of Hormuz reopens, adding that needed volumes could be restored within 1 to 2 months after the conflict ends. Concerns, however, remain among U.S. allies in the region, particularly Israel. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said Sunday that any final agreement with Iran must eliminate the nuclear danger, including dismantling Iran's uranium enrichment facilities and removing enriched nuclear material from the country. With uncertainty still surrounding the conflict in the Middle East, attention is now on whether Washington and Tehran can turn the current framework into a lasting agreement in the coming days. Park Gun-woo, Arirang News.
South Korea's benchmark KOSPI continues upward momentum, with average daily transactions topping 40 trillion Korean won for the first time ever. According to the Korea Exchange on Monday, the average daily trading value on the KOSPI stood at around 48 trillion won, or roughly $31.7 billion US, from the start of this month through May 22nd. The figure surpassed the previous record set in February. The surge was largely driven by robust buying interest in major semiconductor stocks, such as Samsung Electronics and SK Hynix, with the two chip giants accounting for 43% of the KOSPI's total daily trading volume during the first 22 days of this month. North Korea is set to convene a plenary meeting of the Workers' Party of Korea, the regime's ruling party, next month. According to state-run Korea Central News Agency on Monday, North Korea will convene a second plenary meeting in late June as a follow-up to wrapping up the regime's biggest political event held in February, the 9th Key Party Congress, to conduct a mid-year review of the party and state policies for 2026 and discuss key agenda items for the second half of the year. North Korea has recently regularly convened plenary meetings in late June and December, alongside additional sessions to discuss urgent issues. While the upcoming meeting is largely seen as a routine policy gathering, attention is also focused on whether Pyongyang will unveil major decisions regarding inter-Korean and U.S. relations. President Lee Jae-myung and First Lady Kim Hae-kyung attended Buddhist ceremonies hosted by the Choge and Taeguk Buddhist orders across South Korea on Sunday to mark Buddha's birthday, where Lee prayed for national unity and the well-being of the public. He also visited a temple of the Chanti order, marking the first time a sitting South Korean president visited all three major Buddhist orders on Buddha's birthday. It was also the first time a sitting president and first lady attended the ceremonies together. During a ceremony at Chogyesa Temple in Seoul, Lee offered prayers for national peace and unity alongside Buddhist leaders and political figures. In his address, Lee emphasized national integration, pledging to overcome challenges through what he called the spirit of harmony and communication. Meanwhile, so-called agro-healing programs, which utilize agricultural resources to relieve stress and support emotional recovery, are gaining attention. The government has begun introducing a national certification system for agro-healing facilities. Cha Yoon-kyung reports.
This is a horse riding center in Arirang, Gyeongsang-namdo Province. Students communicate with the horses by carefully petting and feeding them. Like professional jockeys, they take turns riding the horses around the track. After the horseback riding session, a fun pizza making and tasting experience awaits. This is an agro-healing program that goes beyond the simple activity, focusing on emotional recovery and stress relief.
I was exhausted from constant studying, but riding a horse makes me feel like all that stress is finally being released.
By spending an hour talking to, feeding, touching, and leading the horses, the students develop a very close bond with them.
At an agro-healing farm in Gimje, Jeollabuk-do Province, flowers and vegetable gardens serve as tools for therapy. Repetitive activities, such as planting seeds, touching flowers, and nurturing plants, lead to increased confidence and emotional stability.
Through consistent gardening activities, participants gain confidence and a sense of self-efficacy, feeling that I can really achieve something on their own.
The Rural Development Administration has certified 91 qualified farms as excellent agro-healing facilities for the first time this year. These sites pass rigorous national standards regarding infrastructure, equipment, and professional staffing. The certification is valid for 3 years.
We are implementing this certification system to ensure that users are provided with high-quality, premium services.
Agro-healing is emerging as a trusted space for recovery, evolving beyond the simple rural experiences into a place where anyone can find peace of mind. Cha Yoon-kyung, Arirang News.
And that wraps up this new edition of Arirang News. Thank you for joining us. We'll be back with more updates at 6 p.m. Korea time. See you then.